Hi guys, welcome back again to our channel. Today we'll be discovering a new anime that will let you guess its name in the comments. Let's get started. The anime starts by showing the king Inglis on his deathbed, surrounded by his friends. Suddenly the divine Alcia appears to him and congrats him for the life he divided and the effort he did to serve the people. She also appreciates the fact that he slows so many monsters and demons due to the forthright nature of his heart, and for this reason he's known as the Hero King. Then she reveals that she came today to repay him for his extraordinary efforts by granting his last wish. The old man wishes to be reborn because he dedicated his entire life to serve the kingdom and the people, but now he wants to spend his new life in honoring his martial skills. Alicia agrees and wishes him a good luck with his new life. Somewhere else, we see the couple Luke and Serena happily playing with their newborn baby. We understand that Inglis reincarnated as a girl from the royal family, but in spite of this, he's so optimistic and says he can feel the Aher within him. In this world, ether is the foundation of all creations. All things are composed of ether, and control over it means exerting your will over the world itself. Outside, a beast is attacking the kingdom, so Serena rushes to evacuate the house and take the baby with her. On her way, she meets her sister Irina, who takes her to a safe place where they meet also Irina's children, Raphael and his little sister, Rafinha. Through the window, Inglis observes the magical monster. Raphael suddenly declares that even after receiving his rune, he can do nothing except watching through the window. Rules in this world are needed to wield AniCapped, the weapons and the equipment that are needed to start combat against magical monsters, and all the knights have them as marks. His mother Irina explains to him that his true rune is a special one, given only to those who will represent the hope of all people. This is why he must survive no matter what. Suddenly, the magical beast attacks them, and Irina falls down injured. Serena gives the keys to Raphael and asks him to run for their lives while she tries to buy some time. However, the lady does not have any power or talent, and all her attacks are useless in front of that beast's power. Raphael takes the babies and the sofa, then he goes back to save his own, saying if he can protect the people he loves, how he can protect the kingdom as a knight. He shows off his sword and attacks the dragon, but his skills needs more training and he's no match for the beast. After being knocked down, it is the time for the baby Inglis to show her power. Since all the people are badly injured and not focused on her, she takes advantage of this situation to approach the dragon and erase it from the world using the Aether Overwhelming Strike. Life starts getting so exciting, and Inglis seems to be happy to see how her appearance changes by the years. We also see Raphael after 5 years, a dignified, serious, and dedicated person. The whole kingdom expects great things from him as the next king. After this, we see Mr. Rambash, trader, came for a visit with his company. Later, his son Ral starts showing his talent using his sword. He manages defeating 10 knights by himself. This is why Inglis thinks he's using some kind of magic. And after observing his moves, she confirms that he's restricting the movement of anyone who makes eye contact with him. And since people of this time have lost all their knowledge of magic, they could not notice it. Raphael is the one who's going to fight Ral next, so Inglis gives him an advice to avoid looking at his opponent. The boy makes a good start, but he raises his head at the end and gets defeated. It was such an unfair game, so Inglis convinces her father to let her fight against Ral, and the smart thing she does is closing her eyes to avoid the eye contact. Surprisingly, she wins at the end, making her father and the knight proud of her. This time we see the royal kingdom attending a ritual, whereby one is granted the rune needed to become a knight, like the one Raphael has on his hand. These runes are divided into 4 ranks. The more powerful your rune is, the more powerful your artifact are going to be. Rafinha goes first and gets a great rune, and now it is Inglis' turn to put her hand in that device. After following the instructions, the time has come to know the result of the test, and unexpectedly the girl's hand is clean. Inglis is now considered runeless, which means she can never be a knight. In fact, the girl is way powerful than they think, and due to her past as a king and a knight at the same time, the advice did not choose any rune for her, and the runeless image benefits her because she does not want to spend her life being forced to serve people. 6 years later, we got to know about the rainbow rain that turns animals, plants, and livestock into monsters that attack humans. The most powerful of them all is the Rainbow King, a monster which can level a nation all on its own. After this, we see Inglis and Rafinha walking together, talking about the monsters they have to face when the rain stops. Later, they see the Highland, the home of those called Highlanders, the producers of the artifact and baptismal and tabernacles that allow ordinary people to protect their livelihoods from beasts and monsters, and in exchange they get corpse and materials in massive quantities. At night, the 2 girls get informed that a Highlander came over with the inspector from the capital. Rafinha explains that an inspector comes by once every 2 or 3 years, but it is the first time they have been accompanied by a Highlander, and they both will be coming to the party in the castle. After a while, the girls meet Leon, a holy knight who serves alongside Raphael, and the Lord Shinor, the inspector. But the surprise is when they realize that the envoy from the Highland is Ral. It turns out he gave all his money and wealth to gain their citizenship, because a Highlander holds more power than any noble. But before any unwanted things happen between Inglis and Ral, Leon interrupts their talk, saying he needs to take the girls to see his trusty companion. On the way, he tells them that a Highlander considers normal people as lesser race, who can even protect themselves without the artifact they make. After this, we learn about Harold Minos, the Holy Knights, companions, who can transform into artifacts usable by their knights only. Then we see Iris, Leon's companion, sitting alone, so he introduces her to the two ladies, but she slaps him on his face and leaves without saying a word. The girl wonders if they did something wrong that made her upset. Leon changes the topic. Suddenly, the trio hears an explosion, so they rush to see what happened in the palace. As they enter the room, they see a burned body on the floor, and it turns out it belongs to Lord Shinoi. Ral reveals that he slew the inspector for his insolence. A simple servant reveals that Ral created flames out of nowhere and killed Shinoi in front of her eyes. Inglis recalls when Ral used magic during a sword fight. Now he threatens to take one of the knights, or he will fake the truth and tell everyone that the king himself killed the inspector. The girl stops him, saying he's sick and disgusting. She then declares that all the man wants is to avenge her, because she once defeated him in a sword fight, so she asks him to take her instead and leave all the others alone. The man accepts and gives her orders to meet him in his mansion. Later we see Iris stopping Inglis from going to meet Ral, but this one insists, so they get into a fight. Inglis notices that the power of her opponent is much higher than the Holy Knight, which pleases her. She then decides to show her a part of her power, telling her there is nothing to worry about. Suddenly, while the two girls are talking, Leon shots Iris aggressively, making her fall badly injured. Iris noticed that the man is wearing an artifact, so she wonders if he's planning to stop them from hurting Ral as a way to win the Highlanders' favor. However, he claims to have good intention toward the people, saying he does not want either the Highlanders or the monsters hurting innocent people, since it's his duty as a holy knight. Inglis asks him what he's going to do to stop them, and he answers that he will be helped by an anti-Highlander guerrilla organization called the Bloodchain Brigade. Iris explains that in other countries, Highlanders have caused many chaos and destroyed entire towns after the brigade killed one of their members. This man over here is planning to make the Highlanders come to their country after he kills Ral, in order to steal their technology and spread it among the people on the surface. And now he wants to take Iris with him, to make people realize that one day even their companions will disappear. So he will be forcing them to discover how to make artifacts without the Highlanders' help. Inglis says she can't let him do this, and they start fighting. The man promises to make the girl regret standing on his way, and using his high-rank artifact, he summons Lightning Beast. Inglis noted that he tries to make her occupied while he flees with Iris from the other side, so she surrounds herself with waves of compressed ether, attacks all the beasts at once, making them all explode. Shocking by this both Iris and Leon. The man tries to activate his artifact, but gets stopped by Inglis, so he just flees away. Suddenly, in the middle of this mess, Ravina breaks out through a window and a huge beast is behind her. Her friend rushes to save her, and she seems so determined to kill the beast, and with only one head, she takes him off. After this, Ravina reveals that she came to support her friend Inglis. She even sneaked into the mansion, and there she met Ral, who suddenly starts screaming in pain. Then he turned into that monster and started attacking her. People turning into beasts is something impossible, but Leon says he's the one behind this. He reveals that he used a drug made of condensed magic powder, which the Bloodchain Brigade have created, and they gave him some of it. After saying all this, the man disappears, leaving them alone to face their fate, saying Ral deserves miserable death. After all what the Highlander did to them, Inglis feels pity for him and decides to kill him with one strike to make it easier for both. King and other knights arrive for help, but Inglis and Iris decide to handle this matter alone. They run towards the beast and kick him out of the city. In fact, Inglis used the other girl just to hide the fact that she has an incredible power in order to avoid living the same as the old days, stuck with the duty of protecting the town. Now, since they are alone, the girl decides to test her powers on the beast and kill him with one head, and she does it successfully. 3 years later, we see the two girls training alone in the backyard of the castle. They both seem stronger and prettier. This day, the 15-year-old girls will set out for the capital. They will enroll in the Knights Academy in the capital city of the king. We see their parents saying goodbye for them in sadness, and they leave behind the house they've been living in their whole lives. The two girls have moved to the capital, where they will be starting a new career as knights. At the town of Nova, they get informed that the ruler of this town is a Highland, and all the townspeople are grateful, which means not all Highlanders are bad. After 10 days, the girl realized the necessity of learning how to spend their money, or they will be in a serious trouble. The owner of the food shop they have been visiting suggests for them to work at the castle, since the ruler is hiring knights and mercenaries to help with Majes's beast attack. The girls find it a good idea, so they go to check this offer. First, they easily pass the entrance exam where they had to fight few knights. After this, they are given good bedrooms and other amazing things. However, English feels uncomfortable, and it seems to her that small amount of magic it's being drawn away from beneath everyone's feet. As they are having a bath, a young lady called Celine joins them, and she turns out to be the ruler of the town. The two girls realize how kind and caring she is, so English take advantage and ask her about why the magic flow in the city seems so strange. Celine says she doesn't know the reason, but she tells them another story about the knights who served under the old ruler. They were a wicked bunch, so she hired them all because she noticed their violence towards the townspeople had become a problem. Now they seem to be planning for something, so she asks the two girls to help her dealing with them before something happens. The girls head towards the hideout of these knights. There they meet their leader and a bunch of guards, who quickly rush to surround the girls in fear. Rafina uses her arrow to scare them, but it gets blocked by a red-haired girl who turns out to be Hyrule Menace just like Eris. English feels extremely happy to face such a powerful opponent, so she asks Rafina to protect Celine while she takes care of the red-haired girl on her own. Rafina is so good when it comes to fighting ordinary knights, and she manages making the sky rain arrows on them. Back to the girls, who seems to be craving a wide fight. A Hyrule Menace attacks first to test English's power and realize from the first hit that her opponent is not an ordinary knight. Then they start a series of spare hits and punches. After a while, the other girl asks why English is standing on Highlander's side, because her kind are trying to steal away the surface. English says that the ruler is nice and her people love her, so it seems right being on her side, but her opponent reveals that the flow of magic has changed in the town, which means the ruler is not good as they think. Upon hearing this, the Hyrule Menace feels angry and attacks English mercilessly in an attack that ignores space and distance. They both unleash their true hidden powers, but English wins at the end. Rafina shows up after that to inform English that she dealt with the enemies outside, so Hyrule Menace take advantage of this to flee away. Before she leaves, she introduces herself as Sistia Roj, then she disappears. The next day, we see the ruler thanking English and her cousin for the great job they did. She invites them to see a secret place under the castle. As they arrive to their destination, they see a magic circle that drains away the magic from the town. The ruler explains that is the core of the highland, known as the levitation circle. It absorbs the magic from its surroundings, and when it has enough, it breaks the land away from earth around it and brings it to the sky, which means the Nova Town will soon become a new highland. If this will happen, the townspeople will either have to leave or become slaves of Highlanders. But the ruler is not planning to let this happen, and she will do her best to make the townspeople happy with their new life. At night, the girls hear a strange voice, so they rush to check it out, but they get surprised after realizing that Celine became a beast. English recall what happened 3 years ago when Rahl the Highlander was turned into a monster by the Bloodchain Brigade's powder, which means this organization is also involved in today's disaster. Suddenly they spot Mimosa, the servant, laughing, and it turns out she's the one who put the powder in Celine's cup of tea. Sistia arrives at the scene, determined to kill the beast, but English stops her. Suddenly, the leader of the Bloodchain Brigade arrives, announcing that he came to eliminate the Highland, but English doesn't agree and they end up making a deal. The girl claims to have a plan, but if she fails, she promises to let the Bloodchain Brigade to do whatever they want. English says they need to destroy the levitation circle. With the help of the Bloodchain Brigade, they manage freezing the monster and turning her into a small-sized version, which means she will never grow large enough to cause problem to others. The next day, we see the girls visiting the Almen Cathedral, where they discover a huge frozen beast. English wonders if they can melt the ice in order to bring back the creature to life, but a security guy asks them to stay away. Later, we see English helping the girl called Leon Alpha to defeat some monsters, and soon after that, Rafina joins them. At the end of the battle, a commander approaches and thanks only the two cousins, ignoring Leon. He explains that he did so because she is the sister of Leon Alpha, a former Holy Knight who betrayed the country and fled. The girls now recognize that she is the sister of the one who turned Rahl into a monster. Suddenly, Raphael arrives and defends the poor girl, saying she has nothing to do with her brother's betrayal. He introduces them to the ones of nations Hyrule means, called Ripple. Then he attacks them to eat some. On the table, they talk about what happened in Nova Town and how the magical beast turned her into a cute tiny creature. After this, Leon starts talking about her brother and how everyone was proud of him. But then he killed not only a Highlander, but even the inspector from the capital. The girls know what happened in the castle, so they inform her that her brother was not the one who killed the inspector and the Highlander. Leon expresses her determination to become a full-fledged knight in order to capture her brother, which means she will be attending the Knights Academy in the capital city just like the two other girls. Later, Raphael gives order to the frozen monster to the border away from many cities because what's happened lately is a sign that it will revive soon. After this, the group splits up. The girls go to their academy while the knights take the huge monster to a safer place. At the capital Cairo, we see the Prince Wayne welcoming the student in their first day at the Royal Knights Academy. Then they meet their principal, Melera, who seems to be a nice person. However, she makes them change their mind. The principal makes the student fight without artifacts in a field of powerful gravity. At the end of the battle, Inglis manages killing all the monsters, so her teacher offers her free meal tickets as a reward. Later, the three girls get to share the same room and they are extremely happy for this. And while they are talking, they get to know Ratty from the Square program and Pram from the Knights. People inside the buffet start whispering about Leon, but our group ignores them. After breakfast, the student meet Margos, the practical instructor for them, and today he will be showing both the Knights and the Squares some flying gears exercises. He asks them to go towards the flying gear dock, so they will start running, except Inglis, who decides to use the gravity effect in order to get there first. As they arrive, they all get impressed of the latest technology the academy's got. Their teacher asks them to form up into groups, and once their flying gears gets outside, they can get on board. One of the team members takes control and the rest make sure they don't fall. Inglis decides to go first and be the one to take control of the gear. Once she starts piloting, both the student and their teacher get impressed of her potential. At the end of the day, they meet the principal again, who's announcing a special test for them, but only the 5 most brilliant students are recommended. The principal will test them by taking them to different places and see whether they can come back before the time limit's up or not. The place she's taking them to is a special place created by an artifact. It is called the Labyrinth of Trials, and it is made to test their strength and mental fortitude at the same time. And the goal from all this is to enhance their mental health as knights. The principal summons multiple doors, asks them to choose, and each one of them will find an appropriate trial beyond the doors he chooses. Inglis walks through the first door. She starts seeing illusions of every monster she fought before. She keeps walking, and there she also meets the red-haired guy who seemed to know her. It turns out to be the heir of the emperor, Inglis, the man who was set to inherit the kingdom after his death. She starts asking him questions about how the kingdom changed and how the discrimination between people spread like this, but all this man called Rondo does is fighting her. The girl effortlessly defeats her opponent, and then she uses her power to break the roof and realize that the 5 spaces of each student are connected to each other. On the first floor, she finds the daughter of the kingdom's chancellor, the one who refused Leon to stay with her in the same room, and now she feels sorry for what she did. The 2 girls decide to discover other floors. They go up to Leon's space, where they find her talking to her family's illusion, trying to convince them that her brother is no longer a hero but a traitor. The girl shows off her blade, and Inglis decides to help her and managed eliminating all the shadows. The girl shows her blade, and Inglis decides to help her and manage eliminating all the shadows. Then we see the daughter of the chancellor apologizing for hurting Leon's feelings. Now the trio decide to head for the top floor, but they ended up getting out of the whole space. They find the principal outside waiting for them, and she announces that they won, unlike Pram, who failed almost immediately. A few minutes later, Rafina also passes the test and gets out of her door successfully. At night, the girls gathers in Lislot's room to fix her relationship with Leon and Rafina. As they enter, they all seem impressed with the furniture, food, and painting on the wall, and we see them ending the evening happy. The girls' bond got stronger, and they decide to remain friends forever. The next morning, the principal informs them about a party to celebrate the appointment of a new Highlander emissary. The organizers, including Raphael, ask for Inglis and Rafina to attend. Lislot also will be there because her father, the chancellor, will be there as well, and she will be taking Leon with her. The girls go shopping for party dresses, and as they are walking, they hear a strange noise, so they rush to check it. There they find Eris and Ripple fighting a gigantic beast. After defeating it, its shiny nails make them believe it used to be a Highlander before, but Eris says he was a demi-human. The Hiram Means girls reveal that since returning to the capital from their last mission, they've been through some strange symptoms like feeling dizzy and extremely exhausted, in addition to the increasing number of beasts that are appearing out of nowhere. Leon believes that the Bloodchain Brigade is the one behind the beast's appearance, but they have no proof. Several days later, the day of the party has come. The girls are looking stunning in their fancy dresses. On their way to the party, the principal declares that it's a good chance for them to ask the new emissary directly to allow them to use new equipment. The principal knows the emissary personally, and since she stayed with him when she was on exchange program in the Highland, he will accept for sure. She then gives more details about this program, saying he went as the prince's bodyguard when he was there on exchange. Leon wonders if the principal can ask emissary about the Bloodchain Brigade, but she hesitates because that man is willing to talk to real knights, not to a bunch of students. Inglis is so optimistic, saying they will find the information they need by themselves. As they arrive, they meet Raphael, who is waiting for them. He then takes them to eat something because their stomach has been making a little bit of noise. However, Before they start eating, a spatial portal opens up right upon their table, and a huge monster comes out of it. Raphael interferes and kills it in a blink of an eye, impressing English with his strength, speed, and technique. More beasts appear, so the principal asks Raphael to go protect the Prince Wayne while the girls take care of the rest. As they split up, the trio shows off their weapons, but English does not give them a chance to use them and defeat all the monsters using her 2 fingers only. Lizelot joins them after this and informs them that something wrong with Ripple. The girl rushes to check this matter. As they arrive, they notice Ripple inside a magical bubble, and it is likely the reason behind the appearance of the beasts. The emissary arrives and he believes that what happened to Ripple was due to the hierarchy. The principal then explains the existence of 2 nations of 2 factions of Highlanders. The first one gives them artifacts, flying gears, and other new technology, and the other is called the hierarchy. Its people prefer to keep the new technology from those on their land. Each of these 2 factions would send hieromeans like Iris and Ripple to each country in order to maintain the balance of power, and Ripple belongs to the second one, and her people may have prepared a way to destroy her from within. Later, it turns out the emissary Celine's brother, and he wants to take her in her small shape and find a way to turn her into a normal person. But the creature refused leaving the girl. As the 2 are talking to each other, the principal calls them in to see Ripple. The hieromeans has awakened from her sleep, and she sadly gives them orders to kill her or throw her away because she's causing chaos in the town. The King Wayne decides to only take her to the academy, while the girls will be keeping an eye on her until they figure out the reason behind what's happening to her. The next day at the academy, we see the girls running during Margot's class. After this, the principal announces that Ripple, the hieromenace, will be staying with them in the academy, and they are going to protect her and eliminate any magic beast that appear due to her magic disorder. She then gives them a new artifact and asks them to first isolate the beast from the surrounding area using a barrier before attempting to eliminate them. Inglis goes to choose an artifact that she may use during one of her battles. However, Silva, the most powerful student, stops her, commenting that her power is useless and sword is no use to her, and start bullying her for being a simple square. The girls interrupt him and they suggest determining their worthiness for the mission through a battle. Another girl called Yua, the most powerful student of the second year, enters the scene and tells Silva that he's no match for her. The principal tells Inglis that these 2 had a mock battle on a time and Yua won, and ever since they are being just like oil and water. As the students are talking together, Ripple collapses and the magical bubble traps her and monsters start appearing. The principal put the 3rd student in charge for today's mission, but Inglis does not respect this and start killing the beasts. The other girls also give hand to eliminate them and quickly finish the battle. Inglis introduces herself to Yua because she finds her power impressive, but she noticed the girl is not good at learning people's names. Later, Ripple awakens from her sleep and slowly started feeling well. Now we see her watching the girls as they play chess. After this, we see the emissary offering Leon a new artifact that moves everyone in it and its vicinity into a pocket space, which means isolating them. The girl tries it right away and it works perfectly. Inglis and Ripple take advantage of the fact they are isolated from the world outside and they start a fight to test each other's power. Inglis starts attacking with an incredible speed and Ripple is dodging it easily. Then she summons a gun and starts her attacks. Inglis unexpectedly succeeded in making an ice blade with magic and surprises her opponent. In the middle of their battle, Inglis realized that Ripple's strength is her ability to keep her distance from the other adversary, so she tries to get closer in order to take the offensive. Indeed, the girl managed getting closer, but Ripple surprises her with another gun. Inglis thinks wisely about her next move, then she used her sword to deflect the bullet and threw them back to Ripple, leading her to a miserable loss. At the end, the emissary and the principal, who were watching the battle, noticed that Ripple absorbs magic from others' artifacts, so when a certain amount is absorbed, it leads to summoning beasts. Leon loses control on her artifact and the isolation effect stops. Back to the real world, they see a huge white beast, and Inglis gets excited to defeat it. She knows already that it's going to shoot them with heat rays, so she informs the others. Then she activates her magical power and throws the beast away. After a while, it falls down on Yua, and in spite of her being unconscious that it will fall on her, she simply cut it with one shot. The emissary at the end of the battle tells them what he learned. So when Ripple absorbs magic from a special rune, the beasts are summoned, and since it consumes her magic, the same phenomena won't occur until her magic fills up again. As the students are talking, Eris and Raphael arrive to inform them that Unifix's armies have crossed the borders, and the Prince Yun requests the presence of the emissary. 2 weeks later, we see the girls taking a hot bath, talking about how peaceful the past days were, but Inglis does not share the same opinion as they are saying. She's craving a fight with a huge monster. Yua joins them after a while, making Inglis think about arranging a battle against her, but Yua says she's too lazy to fight. After this, they start a girls' talk with an unfinished nonsense. At the end of the day, as the girls are heading to their bedrooms, they meet the principal in the hallway, saying she's got something for Rafina, but first she needs to change into her uniform. The girl finds this weird, but they follow her instructions. It turns out that Raphael sent a new artifact for his sister. It has the same base as her shiny flow, but it is an upgrade that has two gifts. The first one is the same as the old artifact, but the second is the ability to heal wounds, and artifacts with such an ability are so rare and not something that can be made in numbers. As they are talking, they hear an explosion outside. It caused by a huge magic beast. The other student revealed that Ripple's phenomena are cured, and it almost kills Silva, which means it is a very strong beast. Some other student blamed two knights named Laddie and Pullum, so Rafina asked for explanation. It turns out Silva is not as rude as he shows, because he covered them when the beast was about to kill them. This is why he got hurt. Rafina finds it a great chance to try her new wound healing artifact. The girl takes a deep breath, then she starts concentrating the power to the tips of her hands. Inglis realized that manipulating the magic may be difficult, so she offers her help to her friend. By touching Silva's body, all wounds disappear, and the students are all happy for this, so they give them two huge amounts of food. Silva also joins them and cheers them up by telling them that even his scars have healed, and for the first time, the students see him apologizing for his rudeness. Later, the girls look sad, because there will not be any monsters for a while, and they have to wait for Ripple to absorb enough magic again. They head to the principal's office and notice that she's a bit angry. She informs them that she has received an official paper in which the Royal Guard has notified them they will be guarding Lady Ripple. They attempt to return her to the Highland and try to replace her with a new Hiram means. The girls disagree with this because Ripple is irreplaceable. She does not deserve being treated as an object. The principal is determined to confront the Royal Guard, which means that everyone will get in trouble. Later, we see Lislot and Leon walking under the rain, talking about the new decision. Lislot realized that the Royal Guard is taking an action while Prince Swin is absent, which means someone is pulling the string behind this. Suddenly, a lightning beast appears, which is the power of Leon's favorite artifact. They start following it, and they ended up in a dark basement. As they walk, Leon sees her brother, and it turns out he joined the Blockchain Brigade. We have arrived to the end of our video. Also, the end of the first season of this anime. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be waiting for the second season. Until then, we'll keep sharing more excitement in other videos. Stay tuned, take care!